Hello and a very good morning to everyone. Welcome to the AWS Hyderabad user group. Thank you for being here today on a Saturday morning. I hope all of you are doing well. Well, we have a good session lined up for you today. It's on Xmigrate or Cross Migrate, you'd like to call it, Migrate.cloud, which is an open source tool that you can use for migrating workloads into AWS. So let me go ahead and pull up our speaker for today, and then we can get started. Hey there, Vishnu. Can you hear me?
Yeah, hi Faisal, I can hear you. Good.
Hey, Vishnu. Thank you for being here today, and thank you for taking the session. Do you want to quickly go ahead and pull up your screen and then probably give a quick introduction about yourself, and then you can start off with the session?
Yeah, sure, Faisal. Let's go.
All right, Vishnu, floor is yours. Go ahead.
Thanks, Faisal. Thanks for giving me this opportunity with AWS UG Hyderabad. And yeah, I'm very delighted. Actually, I'm very delighted and excited to introduce Cross Migrate with AWS UG Hyderabad and whoever is watching this session live across the world. So let's begin. So who am I? Like a brief intro about myself. I'm the founder of this open source project, Crossmigrate.cloud. I'm a multi-cloud and DevOps specialist and an open source contributor. As you can see, my contributions towards Crossmigrate.cloud open source project. And you can ping me anywhere in the social platforms with the handle at the right I am Vishnu KS. Mostly I am very active in LinkedIn. So if you have some questions or comments about this project, like if you wish to collaborate with us and somehow, you can always ping me on LinkedIn. I'm pretty active there. So that's a small intro about me, myself. So I think we can proceed with today's session, migrating workloads to AWS using Cross Migrate. So in a nutshell, what is a Cross Migrate? Cross Migrate is an open source project. In fact, the only open source project for migrating your workloads from anywhere to cloud like AWS, Azure, or GCP. We don't call like it is written as Xmigrate, but we don't generally pronounce it as Xmigrate. We pronounce it as Cross Migrate because of this reason. Like we can migrate any workloads from anywhere to these three clouds. And if you think in this way, like X migrate, what is X in this? X can be AWS, Azure, GCP. So AWS migrate, Azure migrate, or GCP migrate, right? So X stands for the cloud provider which we currently support. We aim to support all the major public cloud providers, but unfortunately we only support three major cloud public. They are the major cloud public providers: AWS, Azure, and GCP. But in future we will be supporting multiple or more cloud public cloud platforms like DigitalOcean, Oracle Cloud, Alibaba Cloud, etc., etc. So that can be X here. So that's a bit about cross migrate. So let's start with the demo itself. While doing the demo, I will show you how you can spin up a cross migrate application and how you can actually, like, what are the different procedures to migrate a workload running somewhere to a target cloud. I will cover all those stuff there in the demo, and we'll see in detail. Basically, I wanted to start with the demo because it is going to take little bit time. Like it may take some time to clone the disk, convert the disk, and build the VM. So I will make use of that time to explain more in detail about cross migrate, like what it does. I mean, how it is designed, what is the architecture, and all I will do while I'm doing the demo. So let me go to my Visual Studio Code. So here it is. I have cloned the repo. Like let me go there. So this is our application website, and here by clicking here you can go to the discussion. This is where we You can ask questions on this product, like if you have some if you hit a wall by using this project, please come here and raise a question, tag me there. I will certainly answer your queries, and I will help you troubleshoot the things as soon as possible. So here, this is the repository where we have hosted our application code. And here is a just an overview of this project, what is there and what supports now. So yeah, this is where you should be, like you just have to clone this project. And we have multiple branches, you can see, like each feature we create on a different branch, like feature slash AWS multi-disk, like that. And once the feature is ready, how we will be merging that to dev branch, and then a stable version will be released to the main branch. That is how we develop the application at the moment. So if you look in the dev branch, you will be getting more features, cutting edge features, but they might not be stable. But yeah, that's how it is. So I will be showing, like we have released a version yesterday. I haven't announced anything, but I released a version yesterday, and we will be announcing about the features which it have today. So I'll be showing with that. I'll be doing the demo with that version 0.7.0, and you can also like use that with the latest tag. So I will let me start with how you can make use, like start this project. So what you have to do is, you first you have to clone the repo, and you will, once you clone the repo, just open that folder, and you will find this Docker Compose YAML file here. And here you will see we are using MongoDB as the backend. At Mongo Express, this is a MongoDB service, and this is Mongo Express. Mongo Express is to see like what are the values which are stored or kept in the backend. It's like a MySQL client. It's a MongoDB client, basically a web-based MongoDB client. You should be able to all see all the collections and the documents on Mongo Express. And here in the app session, we have the cross migrate application details. So currently the application image is built and pushed to Docker Hub. So you can use this image name with this tag to pull this version, beta version 0.7.0, or you can just instead of beta version 7.0, you can just pull the latest. And yeah, here the base URL, I will come to that. Before that, in the MongoDB, like I'm running it in local. There won't be any access from the public or anywhere. So I'm using this sort of credentials, which are very, very generic. But if you want to run it, like if you are going to run it, please make sure you have changed the password, and it's not open to the world. Like no one should be from outside should be accessing your database or cross migrate and do stuffs there. So here, if you check in the repo, we have a Docker Compose YAML file. The only edit I have made is the base URL I have updated to my public IP. So that is because if you come back here, you can see I have updated the base URL with the public IP, right? So this public IP is needed for the application. This base URL is actually needed for to send the server meta informations and everything. Let me pull up the architecture diagram and explain a bit over there so that you can get more grasp on it. And by the way, this is our documentation page, and here you will find all the details, like how you could set up, like what I am explaining now. All the process is documented over here, and how you create a project. I will come to that. But let's talk. Let's take step one by one at a time. So this is the architecture of Migrate.cloud. Here you see source cloud and the target cloud. And in the target cloud, we will have these components over here. So ideally, the the ideal way of doing a migration with cross migrate is to deploy your the cross migrate application to a server in the target cloud. So we have it here, and it will also have a public IP, as I mentioned. And this, when we do the migration, it will be communicating. First is a discovery phase, and it will be communicating to the application server during the discovery phase, and it will fetch all the meta information, like what is the amount of RAM, amount of RAM is available for that mission, and what is the CPU usage, how many cores are there for uh, that mission, and what is the disk utilization, all those meta informations about the server, including the network details, like how many subnets or how many network virtual networks are there, and what is the IP allocated to the server, and what are the processes running in the server. All those information are actually collected during discovery phase, which is the first phase. I have marked it as one, that is the first phase. And then those informations are sent back to the cross migrate application. It is kind of a callback thing what is happening over here. So we need, like, we will be executing a script in the application server, so we need an IP or a domain name which the application server should be able to reach. It can be a private IP if there is a VPN connectivity over here, but if there is no VPN connectivity, and in our case at the moment for this demo we don't have any VPN setup, and this application is running on a public server, so I have a public IP for it, and the port is also open where the application is running. Like when the script is running, after running here, the discovery script, it will fetch all the information and send that back, like the second line here, send that back to cross migrate application, and backend we have MongoDB, and all this information will be stored to the MongoDB database. And the next thing what it do is, like it create the application itself, it creates the blueprint and everything, and then it initiate the cloning. You can see the third line going to the application server, it initiate the cloning, and then it when the cloning starts, it migrate all the disk image, it will clone the disk images of this application server. So if you have multiple hard disk attached to hard disk devices attached to the server, like SDA0, SDA1, SDA, etc., etc., or SDA, SDB, SDC, uh, all those disks will be cloned on a block level to object storage service. In our case, while we are doing migration to AWS, which is S3 bucket, so it will be migrated. The disk images will be cloned one by one to object storage service, to S3 bucket, during the cloning phase. Then we have a convert phase where we convert that cloned raw image of the disk to an AMI for AWS to use. So we use the VM import or image creation service for that, and it create the AMI. It will convert the disk cloned disk raw image to an AMI, which can be used to build a mission in AWS. And the last step, we create the VM in the target cloud, like in the AWS. So that is the overall architecture, high level architecture of this open source cross migrate.cloud project. So now let's go here. Sorry, not here. Yeah. So yeah, before I show you the application, let me also show you something. So today, the application server I have deployed here in Azure, it is a Red Hat 8.2 server, and it have a public IP like this, and an application is also running here. It is nothing but a WordPress application. It's a content management system. Many of you might already know what is WordPress. So why I have opted WordPress, because it is a LAMP stack. Apache, MySQL, and PHP is there. Web server and database is already there. So some of you might be doubting that can cross migrate a database server. Yes, of course, we can do that. I will show you that now. So that's why I opted WordPress as a candidate for this demo. So you can see, you can actually interact with this post here, leave a reply, whatever things you want to do, you can do that. And it also, I think I can log in also. I have the credentials. So I have credentials here, and I can customize my WordPress application however I want. I can do that, but I'm not getting into any of those. Just want to show how we can migrate this application with cross migrate from Azure to AWS, right? So let's begin. So as I said, I have updated the base URL, which is actually the callback URL, which the source VMs will be calling to update the data, like the metadata, which it discovered during the discovery phase to the cross-migrate application. So let me get into this folder. Okay, I have everything here. So let me do Docker. Oh, sorry, terminal. I pressed the wrong key. Okay, let's start Docker compose up. Well, you just need to update this IP with your public IP or the IP where the application cross migrate is running, and the only condition is that it should be reachable from the source VMs. So I'm running this Docker container in foreground. It's not run in background because I want to show you the logs messages which will be coming here. We have added a lot of logs, like we are logging many things from the application because we are still progressing on this application. We are shipping many features and we are stabilizing many features, so we need to identify the errors which are going to come. So we have a hell lot of logs, sorry for that, but we will actually have some verbose logging level in some future releases, so don't worry about that. Let me pull up the application. Application will be running in 8000 port. You can see here cross migrate application will be running in 8000 and it's actually in 18. So at least some of you guys will be thinking this is a public server and I'm running the application Visual Studio Code in my local environment. There's a nice and beautiful widget, Remote Explorer. So you can add SSH targets here and you can develop your applications with Visual Studio Code on a remote mission. So I'm developing on this particular mission. I have cloned everything there, and I have all the stuffs out there. So, and it is needed. I cannot do a migration of 70 GB disk. Like I cannot do cloning conversion with cross. If it is running in my laptop. In AWS case, it will work, but for Azure and GCP, it cannot because we also need to convert that to a different format like a VHD, and we need to compress it for GCP like tar.gzip format. So for that, once the cloning is completed, we download the image locally and do the conversion and then re-upload it. So that is not possible with my current internet bandwidth because that is gonna take a lot more time. So I have set up a remote SSH mission for all this development, and I'm using Remote Explorer of Visual Studio Code plugin to access and develop on that particular mission. So I have started the application and I have already created a user with my name Vishnu, and I'm gonna log in. So while you sign up, it will just ask only for a username and password. You can give it whatever you want. So then I have created these projects already. So I will be using this. But before getting there, let me tell you how you can also create a project. So I'm naming the project test AWS 2 and clicking the cloud provider. This project will have all the information for the target cloud provider for cross-migrate to provision network resources, compute resources to migrate to convert the uh, disk image to AMI and to copy the image, clone the disk image from source VM to uh, object storage S3 bucket. For all this, we need to have permissions on AWS cloud, and for that is there for all other clouds. We need some sort of permissions in target cloud provider to provision or use, call the APIs or anything over there to interact with, right? So I have created an access key and secret key with the limited permissions. So I will be sharing with in some blog post or somewhere, or even in the documentation, like what should be the minimum configurations or the roles or policies required for this particular user. So here I have given actually full EC2 permission and to create the roles and to uh, yeah, I think only these two, like create and S3 bucket access. S3 bucket access, and this user should be able to create roles, and the user should be able to have full EC2 permission, EC2 admin access. The user should have. I can limit that. I will do that. I will do that and document it, and we'll be sharing with the community later. But at the moment, we don't have that document, and we actually in a developing stage. So yeah. So here you have to provide your access key and then the secret key, and then it will ask for, if the secret access key and secret key is correct, then it will ask for you to enter the region location, target cloud location. So you have to select where your application should be migrated to in the target cloud, to which region. And there's one condition here, and this region which you are selecting should be same as the object storage. So let me come back here. So two prerequisites for cross-migrate application. One is the S3 bucket should be pre-created, because we don't know like S3 bucket, like if we give a name in the application and if it is already there, then it's going to throw an error. So instead of handling that with cross-migrate, we thought it should be better. The user should be the guy who go create the S3 bucket with a unique name, and then come back here in the cross migrate and give that while creating the project. And
Hey,
when you
before,
create,
before
yeah,
Faisal here, I think we have a couple of questions if you have a minute to take them.
sure, let's go.
Okay, so I think the first question was from Srinivasa, who's asking how do you perform bulk migrations from DC to cloud or cloud to cloud? So I think the question is like you're showing currently a single VM. So
Yeah,
he does want to know about DBs as well and also bulk migration, I believe. Yeah.
yeah, like if you have multiple server, I will get into that like during the demo. I will show you like how we could be able to do with the multiple servers. It will be
Okay. And
clear like after seeing that.
right. I think he also had a question around DBs. Does this application currently support DBs or is it just like VMs, EC2 instances, etc.?
Yeah, it's a VM. Like if your database is deployed onto VMs, then it should be possible. Like
Okay.
if instead of app server, if it's a DB server, no matter MySQL, MariaDB, whatever you have it here, it should be able to do that. It's a lift and shift process what we are doing.
Right. Right. And just to extend on that answer, Srinivasa, so once you bring the AMI into AWS, which is what Cross Migrate does, you can then further, use the tools on AWS itself to move that like from an EC2 to database if you require. But there are also many other tools from AWS as well for RDS directly. So I think the question was more around RDS.
Mhm.
And one more question is from Mohammed, who's asking, can you migrate S3 bucket objects from other cloud providers? So is this only like AMIs or is it also like buckets and objects?
No, it is only like the workloads running on VMs. No,
Okay.
mm, yeah.
Is there any time frame? Like, is it in the plan, in the works, like for future? Do you think that would be part of this application?
It is not there in the plan. We will be moving more towards container Kubernetes world. So that is actually there in the plan, like migrating VMs workloads to container. Or
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. But I just want to say that this is a open source project. So if any one of you want any features that he doesn't plan to put in, you can always develop it and add it into the application, right?
Yes, yes, right, right. We always welcome people to come with ideas and contribute to this project. So uh, we like we like that from the community. Yeah.
Right. And one last question is from Richie James, who's asking the remote machine on which Cross Migrate is running should be placed where? I mean, in the source cloud or the target cloud?
Yeah. So ideal scenario is to place that in the target cloud. You can also place that in the source cloud. Even you can run this on your laptop. So
Currently, you are
uh,
doing it on your laptop, right?
yeah, I'm doing it on my laptop. Yes.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll take further questions a little bit later on. You can move forward with the demo.
Sure. So let me come back to the application. So I was talking about the prerequisites. So as I said, you should have pre-created an object storage server, like a S3 bucket in your target cloud. If you look here, I have created cross migrate bucket already here. Let me delete this. This was from my yesterday's test for this demo itself. So I will just delete this. This is how it will look after cloning. So you can see it is 64 GB boot image and 8 GB another mounted disk. So I will just delete this. So that is deleted. So all right. and and the next prerequisite is that we should also have a access key and secret key for a user with all these permissions, like permission to copy to add s3 bucket or download images from s3 bucket, and permission to create network ec2 resources and a role. So once you enter the access key secret key, it will ask for the region. You should select the region which is same as the s3 bucket region. um, yeah, that's it. Like if only the region will be um, asked only if the access key and secret key is correct, otherwise it will not ask. It will throw an error. So if the keys are right, then it will it will prompt you to enter a select a region, and in the next screen it will ask to enter the s3 bucket name. So that's it for AWS. And for Azure, you have to create a service principal for a subscription and enter the details here like this. And for GCP, you have to enter the project ID and you have to create a service account. And while creating a service account, you will get a JSON file with private key and everything. So you just need to upload it here. And the process is same, like after entering the credentials it will ask for the region, and then it will be asking for the object storage details. So that is how you should be able to create a project. So let me go back to home, and let me take AWS UG Hyderabad project, and let me go to discovery. So here, this is our discovery phase, and here let me get the public IP of this application. This is the IP of the application which is running. Basically, this app IP, I will copy it from here. So this application server IP, I copied and I'm pasting it here. Uh, So IP is here, and if you have multiple VMs to be migrated like this, multiple workloads to be migrated like this, just have it here. You can do like 1.1.1 like this. You can have n number of missions here. doesn't matter. And you can, the only thing is that you should have a user created with all those VMs with same user credential, like with the same username and password. That is the only condition there. You can have n number of missions over here, but it all should have a common username and password, and this user should also have sudo privileges on those VMs. That is the prerequisite. So I think I have answered Srinivasa's question here. So let me click on submit. And during this is the discovery phase. So during this discovery phase, what it does is that it will configure the AWS CLI on the source VM. It is needed for cloning the disk image to S3 bucket, and it will just do that, and it will just get all the meta informations from that server to our cross migrate application. So these are the tasks which have been executed. As you can see here, we are executing an Ansible playbook, right? So we don't have many tasks. We are not installing a bunch of uh, unwanted things on the source VM. We are just installing only AWS CLI and configuring that. That's the only thing which we are installing on the source VM, and we copy a script to the source VM and just execute it there. What it does is it will just discover some details from that. It will just do some information gathering of that VM, and then we'll send that to the cross migrate application. So that is it. You can see that it executed this binary here, and yeah, that's it. So let's go to blueprint. The discovery was successful. If discovery failed, that go to blueprint button will not get enabled. It would be grayed out. But as it got successful, it got enabled.
Yeah,
So
Vishnu,
here,
there's another question here.
yeah.
Can monitoring logs from other cloud providers and get alarm or event if possible? I think it's something to do with the logs that you're talking about. Mohammed, could
Mhm.
you probably just clarify that question a bit more?
Maybe he might be asking like if we are doing a lift and shift migration, then will the app will the server which get migrated to the target cloud would be able to send metrics or send logs to CloudWatch logs maybe.
Um, Probably, but we'll come back on that question. You can continue.
Okay, so here after discovery, we are here in the blueprint page. Here is the discovered data. If you have multiple VMs given in the past step, in the discovery step, it will have here, it will be here in the table format in multiple rows. And if you click here, expand here, you will see you can you have this information, the host name of the server, the IP, and the subnet information, and then the network details, the network CADR, and the CPU core, and RAM in KB. You also have the device list here, the hard disk device list here, and the mount point for each disk, and the block ID of those disk images. This information are actually required while we are mounting this in like when we do migration. It is actually very important details to be required. So this is you can see here we have two disks over here, SDA and SDB. One is in XFS file system, and this is the boot image, and the next is the SDB file system, which is mounted to, it's a normal mount. So yeah, that's it. So once you have, like if you have 10 VMs to be migrated, you will have 10 VM details over here. And by looking at uh, this table, you need to decide how many networks you should create and how many subnets will be there in each network. and which all VMs should go to which all subnet. Once, as a cloud engineer or a cloud architect, you have to decide on those aspects. We will be cross migrate will be only providing these details here to give you more clarity or idea like how the network structure is. Once you have decided on that, you can create the network here. Like I'm creating test AWS one AWS net. Okay, and I'm inputting a CIDR like this, and then creating network. Then I'm only going to create one subnet here, test AWS subnet, and input CIDR with 1.0/24 around 200 IPs, and I'm making it public because the application we need to access publicly. So let me create the subnet is created. So when you create the first subnet, all the VMs listed here, currently we only have one, but if you have multiple VMs there, all the VMs will be mapped to this subnet. And if you want to create another subnet, you can go ahead and create and map some VMs to that subnet. You can just drag and drop it there by clicking the raw. And if you have to create another network, you can do that. And if you want to move some VMs there, again you can drag and drop. That's it. And here T2, I'm gonna select T3 medium. It is a Red Hat mission, and I don't think Red Hat missions are going to run better on the T2 micro. Otherwise, I have gone for this type. But let's go with T3 medium. So now this is our blueprint. You will have n number of VMs here if you have, and you will select mission type for each VM, and you have also decided to which subnet each VM has to be gone and to which network. So this is what we call as blueprint, and we will be creating the blueprint by saving it. So you got an alert say blueprint successful. So the blueprint creation has been successful. Then the next step is to build the network. That is actually the landing zone for the VM which is getting migrated to the target cloud. So let me also come here to the VPC. I have already three VPCs created. So yeah, that should be fine. That is fine. Like there is a soft limit for all the accounts. We can only create five virtual private clouds, but that is okay. Like I can create two more. So build network should create one VPC with one subnet in that. It won't take much time. It will just take 1 or 2 minutes. So you can actually see the logs here. The application logs here. Also you can check here in the VPC list if it got created. Yeah, one more you can see here. I'm not sure which one because the timestamp is not showing, but anyway, fine. I don't want to know that. There are one like you can actually see here there's one more VPC got created now. The previously it was just three, and it got created. So yeah, this status checks actually happens every 30 seconds. So yeah, now the build network is successful for the Red Hat 8 host. Cool. Then the next step is to clone the image. For cloning, it is going to take a while, but I will show you and just explain you the process. I have actually cloned the image and did convert also, because these two process it takes some time, like 15-20 minutes it takes to clone the disk, and then for conversion also it takes same time. So but I will show you. Here I pressed cloning, and if the cloning process actually started without any errors, then you will see the status changing to 22. So let's wait here for that, and also in the logs you should be able to see cloning awaiting, right? Yeah. And one more thing, what you can see, because we are migrating from Azure to AWS, the other thing which you can see here is past 1 hour. Let me refresh. Okay, it is taking some time for that. I think you will, I mean, you should see some spike here in the network output, network bandwidth output. So it should be some GBs.
Vishnu, a couple of questions.
Yeah, sure. Let's take that.
Yeah, coming back to the question of Mohammed, he's asking. I think what he was basically trying to ask is he wanted to set up some kind of monitoring logs in some cloud provider, and based on getting an alarm, I think he wants to like trigger an auto migration or something. So I think that's a little bit of advanced feature. Now, before you do answer that, I just want to add here that the concept of DR or failover is different from when you're doing a normal migration, right? So I think Mohammad's question is more towards DR, where even in the event that something fails and something gets an alarm, do you do the migration? But anyways, coming to that question itself, is this some feature that you might build in the future, where based on some alarm that's triggering, then the migration automatically gets started or something?
So like even some what should be the trigger? Like if it is some failure, then the VM already failed, right? The application already
Correct.
failed, and there's no point in migrating that and running it again. So he might be looking for a feature like live replication or something, which is now there is with Cloud Endure, which is an Amazon product, right? So that if like we haven't cracked that yet, but it might be there, like the live replication also, it might be also a feature coming to cross migrate in future. And if we like, it also will be open source, it won't be anything paid. So if live replication we crack to do that, then you can actually uh, like install an agent of cross migrate in all your VMs, and the live replication that will happen like subsequently as you write something to the file system or something, and when a failure happen you can do a cutover like immediately with cross migrate application, because we already have different snapshots of that mission. um, so yeah, that
Right.
is there in the
And
roadmap.
one
Yeah.
other question here.
Mhm.
Can we migrate within the same cloud across different accounts? I think they're looking for not just cross migrate across platforms, but cross migrate across accounts.
Yes, like in the same cloud, like AWS to AWS.
Yep.
Yes, it is supported now.
Okay. Great.
It doesn't matter
So,
actually, like
yep.
anywhere to anywhere. Not anywhere to anywhere, sorry, anywhere to AWS, Azure, or GCP.
Okay. So
Yeah.
we have another 15 minutes, Vishnu. Do you think we can show the rest of the stuff?
Yeah, we can show the rest of the stuff. So basically, the conversion it started, and here almost 9 GB data is cloned. And as I said, it is going to take time. So we are not going to wait. I have already did that process yesterday for this sake of this demo, and I have this another project created here. If you see, it is the same VM, nothing is changed. It's 10.0.4, and it's everything same. And I have did clone convert, and I did clone and convert. So basically when doing convert, let me come here, EC2 dashboard, and here you will be able to see the AMIs. Here this AMI I created yesterday. It is the date, yesterday night I created this. All right, so I created this image. It is going to take some time. That's why, otherwise I'm happy to do that, but we don't have much time left. So let us proceed with build. So basically when we press convert, it just does it will just convert the cloned disk image, which is actually stored in S3 bucket. It will just create an AMI out of it and store it here like this. And there is one more thing. Yesterday's. These are the two snapshots which, let me, okay. The last two are the two snapshots which was created yesterday. So this snapshot it will create for creating the AMI, and this snapshot is created for not for creating the AMI, but it is a disk image. So it convert that disk image to a snapshot, and it will create a disk out of it during the build time, and it will attach that disk to the VM which is getting spinned up. So that is actual process for building. It is actually done during the conversion time, these two things, and while we do the build, it will just create a disk out of the snapshot, and it will just attach this disk also to the VM which is getting built. So let's do click on the build button. This should happen pretty faster. Yeah. So let's come and have a look here in the instances. So here you can see this one is initializing. So this is the VM which is getting built at the moment. And I also think we need to attach an elastic IP to this VM. Let me rename this AWS demo. Okay, this IP I will just associate AWS demo, and yeah. So I associated that public IP with the VM which got created. It is still in initializing stage. While it get initializes, we are actually not touching the security group. By default, everything is actually blocked. We can automate it. It is not automated at the moment. We also want feedback from the community whether it needs to be automated or not. Like if it is a public subnet, then we don't want that VM to immediately available for the people to actually access it at the moment, because there can be some more configuration might be needed for VMs to be accessible. So we thought like leave it now with the cloud engineer to configure the security group, like the firewall setup after the VM got migrated. So let me come here in the security group and edit inbound rule. I'm deleting that. Add rule HTTP okay, ADR and from anywhere from internet I should be able to access it. So yeah, yeah, now the VM is in running and still it is initializing, but let me try to access it. Okay, still that is initializing. I think it will take some time to get initialized, but the VM is actually ready, and you can see the application, which we saw here. Where? Here, this is the source application, the source VM, and we successfully migrated that to uh, AWS, the target cloud AWS, and here it is. All right, I think it's all good and categorized. Okay, there is one more thing you might need to do after this, like this IP. Since you see here, the IP got changed, and the WordPress have an internal linking for this, like that URL, the site URL and home URL. You have to change in the uh, WordPress application. So I was using a utility called WPCLI. Using that, you can change the replace using search and replace command in WPCLI. You can actually um, change the URL, change the site URL and the home URL to be this with this public IP. That is something which we need to do after this migration. Some reconfiguration of the application settings. So, but you can see here everything is here available. And but if I click anywhere on these links, it will just go to our the source IP. I mean the source application domain. What I mean is once the migration is successful, we might need to do some tweaking in the application. For in the WordPress case, you have to update the site URL and home URL using the WPCLI utility. So that is about the demo. And any questions on so far on the demo or anything? Faisal, did you got any questions?
Yeah, so there are a couple of more questions. One is from Srinivasa. Can we migrate snapshots across cloud?
Snapshots across cloud? No, like it is kind of snapshot we are taking. Cross migrate follow a generic solution to migrate to take the clone to the clone the disk images of the source VMs, and that is actually a snapshot.
Yeah, so I
Or
think
yeah,
basically
full
cross
snap.
migrate itself is doing the snap and then transferring it, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
correct. Yeah.
But per se, like specifically if there is already an existing snap, transferring that or migrating that isn't supported yet.
No, no, not supported it.
Okay. Another question from Srinivasa as well. Do you have any plans for inventory collection? It would be a great feature for planning phase. Secondly, how do you resolve the application dependencies within the tool? Right. I think one of the
Mhm.
application dependencies was just what you showed right now with regards to the WP URL, right? Site URL. So internally, you might have to make some modifications. But coming back to the first part of that question, like any plans on inventory collection?
Inventory creation,
I think
like
it's part of like when you do the migration, you have to do like the planning phase where you collect whatever you need to first migrate and all of that. So I think they're looking for more of a holistic tool where you can do that planning phase as well before you actually do the migration.
okay, actually, like during the discovery phase, that is what exactly we are doing, right? So, I want to understand. I would like to understand from him, like what other field or what other informations are expected there during the discovery phase.
So
Like
is your
if I,
discovery screen still on? Is it possible for you to show that?
yeah, here. These are the
Uh,
information which are currently gathered from the source VM.
is this specific to a VM, or is this like your entire? I think what he's looking for is like something that goes and searches your entire DC to pull up everything that can be migrated. I think that's basically what inventory
Okay.
collection is.
Okay, understood. So basically, the feature should be something like we should support some CADR range, and it should be going there and collecting all the information of the VMs and everything.
Right. This does not require an agent on the source systems, right, for it to collect the information.
No, it doesn't require.
Okay, great. Another question from Mohammed is, can we migrate with the help of CI/CD? I think again he's looking for something like a continuous process of migration and like live migration that you talked about.
Yeah, that is possible. Like if he understand how cross migrate is working, so he might be able to mimic a CI/CD for that, like understanding the solution, and he should be able to do that.
All right. Fantastic questions and also fantastic feature requests, especially from Srinivasa. So I think Vishnu, you could probably add some features that have been requested during the
Yeah.
session. But I do have a couple of questions with regards to how you ended up here. So what was your inspiration to actually build this tool or start this project in the first place?
Yeah, Faisal, like 3 4 years back, I saw a demo of Cloud Endure product, and I was looking for an open source cloud migration tool, and I couldn't find any. And that fascinated me why it is a black box for everyone. So I did a lot of research how we can do that manually, and found many utilities available for Linux already for doing this migration, right? So I thought, why don't we wrap it and create a product out of it? So and make it open source. That is when it all started. Yeah,
Okay, great.
yeah.
So anyone can contribute to the project?
Yes, of course. I really I really want people to come contribute to this project. Like we have this project board here. Um, it's public. Everyone can see that we have a lot of backlogs and bugs already identified and added here. And if someone can just come out here and pick it up, make a pull request. Like we are happy to review it and merge it to the source code. That
Right, and I
is.
think on that same line, there's a question from Srinivas of would you be willing to work for any brainstorming sessions in terms of ideas and all of that? I think Srinivasa, you could start with posting some ideas in that project tab, and then probably you can pull the discussions from there further up. And I think there's one more question from him around do you have any plans for CIFS migrations? I think with regards to disks.
Can you repeat that question?
Do you have any plans for CIFS migration? So I think it's with regards to storage.
Storage, no, as I said, we'll be moving more towards container and Kubernetes world. So everything like now, that is it. Everyone is moving towards trying to migrate their workloads to container, right? And moving towards Kubernetes and stuffs. So we will be exploring more towards that, and maybe like if it is a most wanted feature from the community, we'll do that definitely. Like anyone can post something here in the discussions, and we can take it up from there.
Right. So I'd like to echo that once again. So if anybody has any feature requests, or if you would like to see something in the application, you can definitely put it up in the discussion section, or even can people actually contribute directly to the projects tab, or is that from your side that you're posting in the projects?
This project, I think it's me. Like if people just create some issues here, I can add that to the project backlogs.
All right.
They just
Normally, I
Everyone can
tell.
Yeah, create issues here, and I can just map that to the project
Right.
about there. Yeah.
Normally, I tend to tell people don't create issues, but here, I think I have to tell everyone go create issues. So go to the GitHub repo and create some issues, guys.
Yeah,
Um,
and also some stars.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We'll wait for 30 more seconds if anybody has any additional questions.
So shall I just quickly go through these slides? Just a few more things. I just want to
Sure. Another minute.
like, yeah, another minute. Let's just 1 minute.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So we saw the demo and architecture, and like as I said, like I started this project after seeing Cloud Endure, and initially it was called Blue Throat. And when I was checking just something in Google, and I found this Blue Throat has been like someone wrote articles on DevOps.com and some other blog about Blue Throat as a solution. So I thought like, oh, there's a demand. So I just revamped that product, and we started contributing to Crossmigrate.cloud. That's how Crossmigrate started. So what Crossmigrate source, I think you guys already know the issues. It aims to achieve portability for VMs created in any cloud, anywhere to anywhere. That is our main objective for, like, we are trying to solve that issues for VM portability. And yeah, eliminate the need for learning multiple tools for different cloud platforms. For each cloud platforms, they have their own tools for migrating workloads to their cloud, but we don't have any tools which comprises of all these cloud supports. And now we have one cross migrate cloud, and happily it is open source. And it is also for helping the customers who want to migrate their legacy systems and applications to cloud at low cost. When I say legacy application, people tend to not to touch an application which is set up by some contractor or someone 5 or 10 years back, and it just work. They don't want to touch it again, and that stops them to moving to cloud. So since it is a lift and shift migration, and maybe we can also help them to migrate their workloads to cloud, or from anywhere to cloud at very low cost. So the features currently support, these are the features which are currently supporting. So migration of infrastructure to Azure, AWS, and GCP. AWS support Ubuntu 16 to 20 versions, and CentOS 7, Red Hat 7, and AWS support Red Hat 7 and 8, CentOS 7 and 8, Ubuntu 18.04. And in GCP, Red Hat 7, 8, and Ubuntu 16 to 20. We will add more operating system supports, but these are the operating systems which currently support on each cloud. And we support migration of servers with multiple disks, and we do environment discovery, as you see the discovery feature. And this is completely agentless. We don't install anything, and we don't leave any footprint on the source VM. And automatic network creation and server build, as you see with cross migrate, it is automatically creating the network resources, and it is highly portable. As you saw just now, I did this migration from my laptop. And our team, like, we don't have much many contributors at the moment. We only have one, two, three, four of us actually contributing to the source code. Myself, Rahul is a full stack front end dev, Nihil is a DevOps specialist, and Akhil is also a DevOps engineer, and Rion is the guy who is behind all these screens, how it looks, and Priya is helping us to uh, finding a space for cross migrate in the community, and evangelizing the product. So you can contact us, like you can mail to me, or you can ping me on LinkedIn, and you can go to our website cosmic.cloud. You will find all the details here. And I would like to have some discussions happening in our GitHub project. Yeah, contribute, collaborate, learn. So thank you. That's it. My presentation. Faisal, over to you.
All right, wonderful. That was a good one. Thanks a lot, Vishnu, and thank you for everyone joining into the session. I'd like to once again reiterate that um, you know the user group that we have, the one that you have joined and attended right now, the whole
Yes.
idea is to bring more people like Vishnu and everyone else building these products and every other kind of solution that you can use with AWS. So please, follow our. Don't just follow Vishnu, follow us as well. Our uh, social media handles, all of them are AWS UGHYD. And Vishnu, I'd like to thank you once again for giving us this session, and thank you everyone for attending as well. If you'd like to have our social contacts visible on the screen, please stay online for the next 30 seconds and you should see all of them. Once again, thank you everyone, and see you in our next session. Bye bye.
Thank you.